Okay, the next topic. You did 2 by 2 linear system. You figured out where two lines meet without drawing them. Here, you're doing a 3 by 3 system. This is basically the 2 by 2 system on steroids. You see that it grew another letter and it grew another equation. If you have 3 letters, the only way to solve this is to have 3 equations. When you had 2 letters, 2 equations works. That's why it's 3 by 3. 3 letters, 3 equations. Now the strategy is going to be this. You're going to pick one letter to eliminate, and you're going to do it twice. You're going to eliminate the letter once. Let's say you eliminate Z. That'll leave you X and Y. One equation. Then you do it again, leave you a second equation. This problem is very long, very tedious, very time consuming. But this is the steps we're going to go through. I'm going to write a quick outline of what to do, and then I'm going to go back and do this. It's going to take me the whole thing. I'll probably have to, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to fit it there, but I'll try. Okay, so I'm going to write outline of steps, a guideline for you to follow, and I'll work this example all the way through. You're going to see it's going to take a very long time to do. Okay, so this barely fits, but it's there. So look, the strategy is similar to the 2 by 2. Again, this is much more difficult and a lot more work and a lot more time consuming because there's 3 letters now. You're still going to pick a letter that you want to eliminate. I recommend that you look at all of the numbers in front of each letter and you eliminate the letter that has a 1 in front of it. And there always will be, trust me, because I'm going to make them for you. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to pick 2 of the 3 equations. Let's say you pick the top one and the middle one. You eliminate that letter. Let's say I was going to eliminate Z. I would use the top one and the middle one and eliminate Z. That's going to give me an equation with an X and a Y. I call that new equation number 1. Then I'm going to do it again. Now I have to pick 2 different equations. I mean, there's only 3 of them, so they can't be that different. You're going to pick, say, the top one and the bottom one and eliminate Z a second time, and you're going to make another equation with an X and a Y. What you just did was build yourself a 2 by 2 system, which was the last lesson. And if you forgot how to do that, then go back and watch that lesson. So now you're going to do the 2 by 2 system. Same thing. Pick a letter to eliminate, blah, 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 blah. You figure out those 2 answers. Once you know those 2 answers, you take them and you go back to any of the original 3 equations, plug them in, figure out what the last letter, the letter you eliminated, was, and evaluate it. You should definitely do this step. You have 2 equations that you didn't use. Let's say you use the top one to solve for the eliminated letter. You still have the middle one and the bottom one. Use them both and check. You will see that I'm going to do this. I will check. I will run through all of these steps in the example that I had up. And, I'll do my best to fit it. And I'll highlight what I'm doing as I go. This is the key part, is to knock the 3 by 3 system down to a 2 by 2 system and then solve that like you did previously. It's really just a very long, time-consuming problem. It's not that hard, but you have to be very careful. Okay, so here it is again. Now, I'm going to do my step 1. 2, 3, 4. No. -3, -4, -2. No. It would not be easy to eliminate X or Y. Can you do it? Yes, you can. Should you do it? No. I want you to think when you do these questions. I want you to take the path of least resistance. There is a 1 here. I can turn this into anything I want easily. Let's say I'm going to use the top one and the middle one to eliminate Z. I'm going to multiply the top one by -2, and I'm going to do that. That's going to be my first move. I'm going to take the top one, and I'm going to times it by -2. Why am I doing that? I want to eliminate Z, so I need the same number in front, but the different sign. Watch your signs here. -4, negative and negative make positive. -2 times Z. And don't forget, -2 times 1. Now I'm going to take the middle one and write it underneath. And remember what I'm going to do. I'm going to add them together. You are doing elimination by addition, so you add. This gives me -X. 6 take away 4 is +2. The Z's, cross out. Equal sign plus equal sign, bigger equal sign. 3 take away 2 is 1. What you just built was new equation number 1. Okay, now I'm going to have to do the same thing on the other side. I want to eliminate z. I need another equation to go with this. I need another one with x and y to eliminate x. So, or y. So I'm going to take the top one and the bottom one. This time, look at the numbers. There's a 1 there and a negative 3. This time I'm going to multiply that by 3. Now I'm going to write it all out. Now I wrote this step out so you don't have to stare at my back too much. I took the top equation and I multiplied it by 3. Why am I multiplying it by 3? I need a 3 here so that when I add it with the minus 3, it goes away. So I took the top one, multiplied it by 3. 6x, negative 9y, positive 3z. 1 times 3 is 3. Make sure you multiply this. Now I'm going to add them together. This gives me 10x. That gives me negative 11y. These cross out. That gives me a bigger equal sign. 5 and 3 make 8. What did you just do? You just did new equation number 2. This is the game. I mean, you have to play this game. You're only halfway through the problem now. I eliminate x. I eliminate z. I eliminate z 1 time. Get new equation 1, has x and y. I eliminate z a second time. Another equation with x and y. Now I got to play the 2 by 2 elimination game. It looks like I'm going to go after x, right? I mean, I have a negative 1 here and I have a 10 there. I have a 2 and an 11. There's no nice way to eliminate y, so it looks like in my next step. Now, again, this takes up a lot of room. I can't fit this here. I'm limited. So I'm going to use those 2 equations I just created. I'm going to eliminate, and then I'm going to go back to the original problem. Okay, next step in the problem. I'm going to eliminate x. I have to solve for x and y, or I'm not going to be able to figure out what z is. I think I'm going to multiply this one by 10. This is definitely the easiest thing to do. So, multiply the top one by 10. 10 times negative x is negative 10x. 10 times 2y is 20y, and then 10 times 1 is 10. You cannot afford to make an error here. You have to make sure that you multiply everything by 10. You also have to watch the signs really carefully. Now, the bottom one I didn't do anything to. I'm just going to add them together. Those cross out. 20 take away 11 is 9y. Bigger equal sign. Make sure you make it bigger. 18. Oh no. You're adding 2 equal signs. They get bigger. That's just basic math. Divide by 9. Y is 2. Sorry for the sloppiness. Okay. I'm not done though. I'm still missing x and I'm still missing z. So now I'm going to take y is 2. I guess I'll go to that one. Now I got to solve for x. Take this one. Replace the y with a 2. That's what I just figured out. Subtract 4. Ooh, this is going to get tricky. Negative x. Negative x. Don't lose your sign. Those crossed out, right? Letter on the left, number on the right. 1 take away 4 is negative 3. Now switch the signs, right? Divide by negative 1. That gives you x equal 3. Yay! All I need is z, and then check. So, started my 3 by 3. I knocked it down to a 2 by 2. I used the 2 by 2 to figure out what x and y are. Now I'm going to plug them back in, and I'm going to get z. Okay, so here we are at the very end at last. I'm going to use the top one. I want to figure out what z is. So I'm going to replace x with 3. I'm going to replace y with 2. You're going to laugh when you see how ridiculous this comes out. That's 6. That's 6. Wow, this was hard. 6 minus 6 is nothing. Yay! Oh my god, that was so easy. Yeah, right. Look, I rigged this one so that the answer is 3, 2, 1. The answers tend to come out something like that. Negative 1, 2, negative 3, stuff like this. Usually it's 1, 2, 3, or maybe 1, 2, 4. So now I'm going to check. I told you you should check, and I told you that I'm going to check. So now I'm going to take my three answers. And I'm going to now I used the top one to find z. So I'm going to check the middle one and the bottom one. So x was 3. Y was 2. And z was 1. And I hope all that craziness comes out to 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 9 minus 8 is 1. Yay! 1 plus 2. It'll work. I'm going to check the other one too. I want to make sure. I'm not stupid. I'm going to make sure it works in the other one. I'm going to write it out first. Okay, so I already started it. Took the bottom one. Plugged in 3 for x, 2 for y, 1 for z, because that's what I got. 3, 2, 1. 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times 2 is 4. And 3 times 1 is 3. And then negatives. So I have 12, take away 7, which is indeed 5. Yay, it worked. Awesome. Okay, so recap the whole thing. I started with 3 letters, 3 equations. I knocked it down to 2 by 2. I eliminated z, so I had x and y left over. I figured out what x and y were first. Then I went back and get z. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. These problems are very time-consuming. They take up a tremendous amount of space. And I hope that from watching the question, you understand that if you even messed up a single minus sign anywhere in this problem, the whole thing is shot. You have to watch your signs very, very carefully. Some of you are notorious for making sign errors. You have to avoid that here. You're going to get crazy stuff. Now, the only thing I can tell you is if you don't get nice numbers here, if you had gotten 3 over 17, 2 over 5, negative 1 over 16, you screwed up. No fractions. You will never, ever, ever get fractions here. If you do this question, you get a fraction, you screwed up, okay? So this is what we're going to do the next class, and this is going to be your first quiz question. Just one like that. And it's still going to take you 20 minutes to do just that one question. All right.